What could have happened inside this quiet, rural property that would leave 5 people and several domestic animals dead? Forest Grove, Oregon, August 22nd, 2026. And why did the trail eventually lead investigators nearly 200 miles away to a man found dead inside his own vehicle? It was just after 5:27 in the morning when emergency crews were called to 47,350 Northwest Otis Lane, outside Forest Grove, Oregon. The initial call wasn't for murder, it was for a vehicle fire. But when firefighters arrived, they discovered something far more disturbing: human remains. Deputies were called to the property, and what they uncovered turned the scene into a massive homicide investigation. 5 people were dead. Several domestic animals were also found dead on the property. Authorities would later classify the case as a quintuple homicide. But the most chilling part was this: investigators said they did not believe this was a random act of violence. At first, authorities released very few details. The property was heavily investigated as detectives worked through what officials described as an extraordinarily complex crime scene. For more than 24 hours, the public was left with almost no answers. Who were the victims? How did they die? And what happened inside that isolated property? Investigators were still working to identify the victims and notify their families. Then, on Sunday, the case took another dark turn. Detectives identified 36-year-old Benjamin Charles Parker as a suspect. Investigators believed Parker had traveled to Enumclaw, Washington, and there, officers located his vehicle. Inside, they found Parker dead. Authorities believe he died by suicide. Later, the Enumclaw Police Department confirmed that the death scene behind a local Safeway was connected to the Forest Grove investigation. And suddenly, investigators were no longer searching for a suspected killer. They were left trying to reconstruct the final hours of a case involving 5 dead people, multiple dead animals, a burning vehicle, and a suspect who would never face a courtroom. Authorities have not released the identities of the victims, their causes of death, or the motive. Washington County Sheriff Caprice Massey described the investigation as one of the most complex scenes she had encountered in her 22 years with the department. And tonight, one haunting question remains: what happened on Otis Lane before the fire brought investigators to the property? The investigation remains ongoing. Subscribe to the Blackrobe cult for more disturbing cases like this.